Okay guys, we're 1 week late. We were supposed to pour last Tuesday. That's what I said in all my videos, but that heat wave just kept getting hotter. And Monday we had heat indexes of around 120, which was a record in Southwest Missouri. And Tuesday was not gonna be any better. The homeowner definitely wanted me to slow my roll and not go. I very much wanted to get it out of the way, but after talking to Austin and a couple other concrete guys, we all decided that it was the right move to hold off. And we pushed it a whole week because of my crew's availability plus the weather. Heat broke over the weekend. Right now it's like 62 degrees. It's gonna be about 84 for a high today, which is like 10 times better than the 103 with a huge heat index. See John Martin's back here setting up. The boys are gonna be rolling in here any minute. Concrete's gonna be here in the next 30 minutes. We will get to pouring this thing. The final mix design is 4,000 PSI, half-inch rock. We want the half-inch rock so we can make sure we're getting vibration and everything down into all the beams and around all the rebar without having any big rocks get pinned around the rebar. So 4,000 PSI, half-inch rock, air, and they did go ahead. We're not plasticizing. It's cool enough this morning that we're just gonna pour the whole thing at a 5 slump. That'll be wet enough, but it's like a less than a 112 pitch that'll stand. So I'm not worried about needing it to, start stiffening up. So we're gonna save that $7 a yard. But the homeowner did go ahead and spring for the Zypex. Going through the yardage cost, I think they're getting the concrete for a little under $150 a yard for the concrete itself, and then delivery, fuel surcharge, and then the Zypex itself is it's adding $45 a yard. It's 1 bag per yard. The last time I think I did pricing on that with you guys, I was telling you it was like 35 a yard. It's gone up. What hasn't? That did factor in when you got 120 yards. You got 120 bags. That's an extra $1,300 after tax, in addition to what they're already spending. But the homeowner just said, look, I was gonna do it at $3,500. I'm still gonna do it at $4,800 in Zypex. I guess so I was gonna nix it and not use it, even though I think it's a fantastic product. We're gonna do a TPO roof, so I don't know how waterproof the concrete really needs to be with the TPO roof. These people really love belt and suspenders kind of thought processes going into buildings that they plan on outlasting them and their kids. So it's go time, guys. We're gonna get after it. Okay, John.
Yes, sir.
You ready to pour this roof today?
Oh, yeah.
What are your thoughts? You like pouring this rough stuff, or would you rather be pouring a 4-foot wall for Zach Boring?
I like the challenge. I definitely like a challenge.
Look at this. This machine's clean as a whistle. How old is this truck?
7 years.
7 years. It looks like it's 2 days old. Man takes pride in this truck. That's why we want him on this job, because we want him to take pride in this work. It's gonna go awesome. So he's checking for reach right now before the concrete and the boys get here. Looks like we got it, buddy.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
We're not even
from down here, it looks a lot bigger, but yeah, we're golden.
One last thing before we get up on the roof and start looking this pour over. John just reattached, what do you call this, John?
Call it an air cuff.
An air cuff. Very few pump operators use one of these because they cost a little bit of money, and but I always find this, I tell people in my training, it's indicative of somebody that cares about what they're doing, because this thing here, at the push of a button, right? I mean,
it's all, actually this one here, depending on the pump brand and your setup, this one's actually, I can set it to on, off, or automatic. So as soon as I turn the pump on, it automatically releases. As soon as I turn the pump off, it'll automatically close if I leave it on the auto setting. So.
Yeah, and so what that does for us, like up there on that roof, if we have any problem, or if we're on a wall, we don't want that extra, basically everything
50 feet
to the top is coming down. It's not magic, it's gravity. It pumps it up there, and then gravity falls down this hose. You're getting all that concrete in your wall when you wanted to stop. So it could be a quarter yard or more coming into your wall extra. This thing here stops it instantaneously. So it gives him probably 5 times better control over the pour. And very few guys use it. Most pump guys don't really care about the guys holding on to the pump like John does. Brand new tool for this job this morning. We got the DeWalt 20-volt vibrator. For a battery vibrator, this thing is actually pretty freaking killer. And I don't know how much my boys will be using it, and obviously if they're using it I won't have it on video, but I'll at least try to get We're gonna vibrate down into each beam and make sure we get good consolidation. That's I'll get into with John how we're gonna handle this pour. John.
Yes, sir.
What our plan is, the boys and I, we're gonna pour about 20 foot all the way across. I can't pan any further. I'm gonna get the boys in frame. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill up these beams in a 20 foot by 20 foot area, including the thickened edge over here, just up to the top of the foam. Okay, we're gonna vibrate those beams, get everything kind of solidified and ready to go. And then we'll probably do another 20 foot. Then we'll go back and pour this to grade. We've got these grade pins right here that we'll use to keep everything nice and flat. And then we will pour another 20 feet, go back, and we'll just kind of keep stepping back and forth, keeping the beams, giving them 10, 15 minutes to stiffen up before we put all the weight. Really, the only place I'm even remotely worried, and we've got it wired really good, is along this outer wall. You can see all the wire we've got in here. It's about on every 12-inch centers. And it's holding it really sturdy, but I don't want to put 16 inches of concrete against it all at once. We'll do it in 2 lifts real quick. Okay guys, everything's been going swimmingly well. We're right at the halfway point. Brought in a few of Austin's guys just so none of us have to work that hard, but I thought real quick, I know you guys love talking price. And obviously I got into the yardage with that Zypex. We're just over $200 a yard on this concrete mix at 120 yards, counting that retaining wall. But I want to talk real quick about John's pump. I mean, like I said, one of the nicest pumps you're ever gonna see. The pump prices are kind of wildly varying around the country, but John is a super fair guy. I know, where are you, about 190 an hour?
We're running, we just went up to 200.
200 an hour. Biden got a hold of you, right?
He did.
Okay,
he did.
Got it. Okay, 200 an hour, and then you have a yardage.
$4 a yard.
$4 a yard.
And
so
then a $200 mobilization fee for your first hour, and then it goes up after that. But
okay,
most of my customers are within an hour, hour and a half. So.
Yeah, so as far as getting there.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're obviously only about 30 minutes away from you, so we...
Yeah, you get that $200 mobilization.
There you go. So we got, probably, you're going to be here most of the day. We're probably looking at $1,700–1,800 for the day.
Maybe a little more. A little shy of that, I think.
Little shy of that, okay. So yeah, so guys, I mean, he's going to be, this is basically his job for the day. He might squeeze something in this afternoon if somebody begs him, but it's probably about a $1,500 to $1,700 day. Yep. And that is about the most I ever pay John. Yeah. Just to put it in perspective, when I go to Angel Fire, they're going to want $2,500 when they show up, which is murderous. So I really wish John was a little closer than 1,000 miles away, but that's about what you're looking at for a pump for all day. Like I said, so just shop around and get a quality guy and a quality pump.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, the Amish are off the roof at the moment, so I thought I'd take a quick second. We're about halfway done. Roast dropped the ball a little bit. We're waiting on a truck, but it'll be here soon. In fact, there she is right now. So we, like I said, we're right at halfway. They're floating it as we go. Marshall's vibrating in all the beams. I'll show you guys that a little better in a second when he gets back after it. Marshall's over here using the one man to get the grade pins bridged. I'm gonna get in here tight on this. Okay, so once you find the beam, you can just lift up, you feel it hit the steel, and you lift up till you feel it fall off of the fiberglass rebar. Just like that, you're just working it down. And that's how you cream up the beams. You can kind of see how this blows all the air out, consolidates it. You don't want to go too far. You just hit it with a quick sting. Go get that one real quick. It really just gets it all around that rebar. So he's running it down in, making sure it gets around the rebar, just inserting it into the beams. You can actually hear it hitting the steel. It kind of makes a jingle when it hits, so you know you're getting all the way down. Pretty easy to manage. We wetted down the floor in here so that anything dripping through doesn't like get stuck on the floor. After we're done placing, which we're down to the last 5 or 6 yards right above me, we will be coming in here looking around for any splatter.
I'm gonna climb down. I'm gonna be over there and watching you.
There is any.
I won't be able to watch.
It's actually held up amazingly well. So like I said, this is all the scaffolding, which you can see from one of my previous videos, but we did wet the floor because we're not putting any epoxy or anything on this floor. So this is kind of finished product. We don't want a bunch of concrete stuck on it. Okay guys, we obviously got this poured about 3 days ago. It's curing out really nicely. It's been really cool this week, which is why we waited a week. You know, temperatures dropped almost 30 degrees on average for the highs and the lows. So this is absolutely perfect time of year to cure a roof like this. They ended up having 120 yards total, but 10 yards is in a retaining wall down below. So 110 yards ended up being about $23,000 for the concrete. They had about $10,000 in rebar, fiberglass, and the No. 6 steel that were in the beams. And they had about $40,000 in the Insul-Deck itself. So, you know, they're in the close to $75,000 range for the material. They probably paid my guys around $25,000 to get it all situated up here and poured. That's probably half of what it should have cost. We do a lot of business together, so it's a little different deal. But you're probably looking about $10 a foot for somebody to do a roof like this, typically. So, you know, why would you do this? The steel roof version of this, they're both getting TPO, so that's the same. So we get to this point, what's the difference? You know, the steel roof was gonna be $60,000 or $70,000 in structure. This one being around 100 for them, maybe 120, 125 to the general public on a normal job. You're gonna spend an extra 40 or 50,000 right now to do a roof like this. It's a giant roof, keep in mind. The reason we could land a helicopter up here. I actually have a buddy that has one, thought about doing that. maybe before we put the TPO on. But the real reason, this has got a big solar array going up here. It's actually gonna take that entire house off grid. We've got going in up here, and it does not need that much structure for that solar. But these homeowners are big proponents of ICF technologies, that entire house. I'll link the video to that home tour. One of the nicest ICF houses I've ever been in. Light deck floors throughout, polished concrete, very beautiful home. And they just believe in it. They believe in the longevity, the structural, the sustainability. You know, the lumber industry, I'm not trying to vilify it at all. It's pretty well managed. You know, they cut trees down, they plant more in return. It's fine, but the U.S., out of all the places I visited around the world, relies on the lumber industry for overall construction far more than any other country. There's just a lot of places building better than we are. European windows, and even like there's places around the world that build, you know, we have more strict codes, but they build it right just because maybe they don't have the availability of lumber, so they do something more expensive, but they build better. I try to promote building it the right way one time. 30 years from now, you're not redoing some wall that rotted out or whatever. That's why I love these products, that I'm building things that are gonna outlast generations to come, not just myself. You know, these are 500-year structures, and you know, they're worth it in my mind. You know, if you're wanting to do a hip roof or something like that, we get a lot of calls, people, I want to do an ICF roof. At some point, there are just economic factors. What is your purpose? If you're doing wind, we can get you to 200-mile-an-hour wind with engineered trusses with embedded straps in the concrete of the ICF wall. And if you need more than 200 miles an hour, I mean, I gotta ask where you're living. I mean, a tornado can do that, but it's just such a rare problem. The walls can get to 250. Your roof is at 200. That's a pretty amazing structure. But a lot of this too, like when I build Angel Fire, it'll have a roof like this. Reason for me is fire. It's in a wildfire zone. The guy in California, in LA, that I'm consulting on his project, he is doing it because he lost his home to fire. He is building that house entirely fireproof. It's also in a seismic zone, so the extra structure is being built into it on purpose, for purpose. You might not need that if you're in, you know, the Midwest and you just want a really efficient, really nice home. It may be more economical to go, you know, trusses, and that's fine. But these modern homes with flat or single pitch roofs, it is not very hard to throw Insul-Deck or light deck roofs on, and then you've just got this amazing structure that is just about indestructible. And so yeah, a lot of it depends on your architecture and everything else. And we'll get more into that. Like I said, when we get to the TPO portion of this, I'll bring it back to you. We got to build the parapet wall here next week and get it all completely ready to throw the TPO on. And then this thing will be ready. Windows are in, but we're probably going to wait till we pull the trusses out in a couple, or the scaffolding out in a couple weeks. So I don't want to scaffold the bonk a window as we're tearing it all down. So I think we'll wait to put it in until then. But then we'll have this building in the dry, ready for the electricians to come in, wire it, get it to drywall early this fall. So this one will come together nicely. I will see you guys next week.